at the end of the tunnel. We don't have enough words to express our gratitude for your sacrifices. We can only acknowledge it and say thank you. National Health Mission, Government of Meghalaya.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome each one of you to this public conversation called Youth Challenges and Responsibilities During COVID-19. This is the panel discussion brought to you by the National Health Mission, Government of Meghalaya, and to consolidate public opinions around the areas of protection from the pandemic. My name is Kit Champliang. I'm the host for this panel discussion, and I promise you this evening is going to be very interesting because we're going to talk about things that circles around a very vibrant population, delving into very pertinent issues. We all know that COVID-19 has impacted the life of young people big time. However, the line of conversation today is to dwell more on how the youth was able to rise above those challenges based on their adaptability and resilience. If you're watching this discussion, please make it a point to invite your loved ones, colleagues, friends, and people you know to join us as well. Without further ado, let me introduce our panelists. We have with us, as you would have known, Miss Marissa Aim, radio jockey at Radio Mirchi. Of course, Marissa will join us later. Oh, there she is. Welcome,
hi,
Marissa.
Hi, Bucket.
And Ruben, we've also hi. So we've also got Ruben Hadem, singer songwriter. He's 18. He's a student and a member of the famous Aroha Junior Choir. Welcome, Ruben. And we've also got another participant, and this one comes from the Garo Hills. She is Miss Nasa Marak, member of the first K-pop girl group from the Garo Hills. And the name of the outfit, I guess, it's Five High. She's a student, Bachelor of Arts in English. Welcome, Nasa. I hope, Tura is not...
Hi, everyone.
I hope Tura is not as humid. And, it's so good to have people from the other side of the stage. And, of course, joining us is also Ritik Roy Mangyan. He is an independent artist and member and founder of the one and only Khasi Bloods, and he's otherwise known as Big Ree. Hi, Big Ree. Welcome.
Hello, Bucket. Hello, everyone.
And last but not least, we've got Miss Berthawar Nongkhao. She's the youth influencer that we have in Shillong and a social media champion. Welcome to each and every one of you, and I'd also like to welcome our viewers today for joining us. So, yes, let's get into the questions. But before that, when I ask a question to one of you, in case the other panelist feels that she or he has something to add, just feel free to do so. And yes, we may have differences. It's okay. Feel free to also express those differences. This is not a fight. It is a sharing of opinions. It is looking at the best ways to protect the state from the onslaught of COVID-19. So, firing away, I'll ask the first question to the RJ, and that is Marissa. Marissa, you've been part of Radio Mirchi and radio jockeying for many years now, and you've been very connected to the young people. So please share with us your experience. How do you think, COVID has impacted the youth? And when I say the youth, we mean young people between the age of 13, 14 to about 35. So is it that bad? 2020 now, 2021. What do you make of it?
I think COVID, as we all know, has not impacted just the youth or just the older generation. And I feel like more so the youths, because many people have said that, kids nowadays or teenagers or even the youth also for that matter, they've lost 2 years of their lives. I mean, I don't know, I don't really know how far that is true, but many people have said that, they've lost 2 years of their lives because it's just everything has stopped. Everything just came to a standstill. Be it education also for that matter. Of course, in the urban areas, we're a little lucky that way because we can actually, we have proper internet connection, we have proper Wi-Fi connection when it comes to their education, their online classes. They can easily sit for their online classes without having any problems whatsoever. But despite that, I mean, can you imagine, for 16 years, kids have always interacted with their teachers. They've always, if they had a question, they can always just raise their hand and talk to their teachers. And being a teacher myself, I know how important that is, that personal connection with the student. And even
Mhm.
students also feel the same way. But now suddenly they're sitting in front of a screen like we are right now, and with they're taking classes, they're sitting for their classes, so they're basically thrust into a situation which is completely unprecedented. They never thought this would happen. Of course, it was fun at the beginning. When you think about it, you thought, like, online classes would go on for 3 months, maybe max, because we all thought COVID-19 would go away in 3 months. But then no, it stayed for
It
two
stayed.
years now. Yeah, it stayed. And it, from the looks of it, we're not really sure when it will go away, because right now also we can't really say that COVID-19 is going to be gone tomorrow or the after tomorrow. It's still there. So education, I think it's one of the main, the main ways that has impacted the youth. And when you talk about students till they're 21 or 23, they still need, a lot of interaction with other people. And it's not just education. And after you've passed out from your school, and when we come to the older youth, maybe when you're 22, 23, 24, that is the time for you when you actually look for jobs. Okay,
Mhm.
before that, college life has also stalled, because I don't
And
know about
building
you,
and
Bucket,
building
but
networks and building networks, right?
and building networks, yeah, because when you are looking for jobs, when you are, when you are going out there and trying to start a career, especially in this day and age, social life is very, very important. We might think that, oh, social life is just sitting a table, around a table with a few friends, having a cup of coffee and doing all of that, but no, that's not it. I think more so than that, it's also a lot of networking. Because I mean, when you sit around with friends, you tend to meet their mutual friends, and you tend to meet a lot of people, and then you tend to make connections that way. And once you make those connections, you can, because in this day and age, when, let's talk about it, because unemployment, of course, is also one of the big issues in this day and age. So when you make those connections, you actually are able to, you're able to form connections with people, in the sense that they're able to start a job, start a business together, maybe start
Mm.
some networking here and there. So that's also another thing that the youths of this day and age have lost out. And when
And-
we talk about employment opportunities also, that's also gone down. I mean,
Mhm.
especially in the private sector, because I do work in the private sector, and I know that in the private sector, there have been a lot of people who lost their jobs,
Mm.
who, because of the pandemic, the pandemic hit businesses couldn't make money, and because the businesses couldn't make money, the market crashed. When the market crashed, it's like a domino, a domino effect almost, where one thing
Yes.
falls, everything starts falling. So
Marissa,
yeah, it
point
has.
taken. Point taken, Marissa. Thank you. I'm going to
Yeah,
bring, since we're talking about education and young people, perhaps we'll bring you later when you talk, expand your thoughts. But now I'm going to
yeah,
bring, the 18-year-old. That's Ruben, Hadem, and Bertha Nongklau. Okay, and I'm going to ask this common question to both of them, and they can come in. Perhaps Ruben can start. See, as a student, Ruben and Bertha, tell us, how did you cope with the academic challenges? Because we look at challenge one way, but we also look at perhaps other opportunities of learning, right? During the pandemic. So, And then we talk about adaptability and resilience. So, do you think kids of your age, younger and older, uh, and the youth of your age, younger and older, are more adaptable and resilient now than what their elders think they are?
Yeah, well, uh, times are difficult right now. Of
Hmm.
course, online classes can't really make up for the amount of physical classes we've lost. So, um, but I believe in these times we should really take it in a positive manner, in such a way that you can spend more time for yourself. And I think the problem that most of the youth face is time management. Even I myself find have found it difficult to keep up with all the uh, homework and assignments, along with all my all my music. But
Hmm.
with discipline, you can actually get that sort out. Um, you can, for example, you can make a timetable for yourself where you can separate and divide your time for studying, for doing what you love, and other daily activities. In that way, if you follow that table strictly, then yeah, you can cope up with academics and the things you love to do.
Well, I think I would credit that to your background, Ruben, because I know that you are part of the Aroa Junior Choir, and
Yeah.
they do follow a certain discipline. That's why you mentioned and brought out the word discipline there. Very important. Over to Bertha now. If you have any thoughts to add to what Ruben had already said, Bertha.
Yeah, to what Ruben said, in my perspective, I feel like we can't really be compared to how our elders faced earlier on, because with how things are now, they're quite different. And the first thing we need is to be understood because of such a situation.
Hmm.
And one thing that's really important is we need a routine to follow so that we don't feel like it all comes tumbling down, especially with the time right now. So the thing is to keep yourselves busy, even with hobbies, any sort of hobbies that you have. Or like me, I enjoy with my social media at the same time. I try to balance with my classes, and it helps with the stress that most of us must be feeling at such a crucial time. Yeah.
Thank you very much. You mentioned very pertinent points there. Being understood. I think the young people of today need that. There is also, I think, a element of truth when you talk about the youth of today and how there is very little difference between virtual space and physical space. So learning was not what it used to be, but learning, keeps on happening. So it's like the show must go on, and it has gone on. But of course, we do understand the internet connection challenges in the rural areas. Those are things that we need to perhaps come to terms with. So thank you very much, Ruben and Bertha. Now I will bring a very interesting person to the discussion, that is Big Ree. Big Ree, thank you for your time. And I just cut to the chase, asked you the question how bad the artist community has suffered during the pandemic. No shows, no business. Perhaps you can also look at unemployment, not just in music or arts, but in general, career, uh, worries about career and what. So, what have you done to sort of cope with all of this? Is there a coping mechanism of sort?
Well, Bakit, as it is, artists in Meghalaya have been struggling even before the pandemic. So, like when I say artists, there are two categories of artists. There are those who have established themselves and those who haven't established themselves. For those who have established themselves and for those whose services are in high demand, of course, there's a huge impact, but they're still getting something. But like for an artist like me, who haven't established myself that much, even though I have like attained a certain level of success or whatnot, like, I haven't earned anything from music for the past 2 years. Like whatever I've earned is negligible. So I was forced to search for alternate like sources of income. So like, and the only thing, like me coming from a hip hop background, the only thing I can do is hustle. So you can always find me selling something, whether it be like, I don't know, groceries or like whatever. I sell whatever. So that's how I've like somehow managed for the past 2 years. And I think like for new artists who are like thinking about breaking out and coming into the scene, it's next to impossible for them to like, think of this as a career, because it'll be impossible for them to convince their parents that this is a lucrative career in this like in this pandemic. And at the same time, like me and my friends, a group of friends, got together and like we formed a society. We called it JL Air New Transport Society. And the main focus of the society is to like how is to solve the unemployment crisis that is like here right now. And a group of friends, me and like 7 other people, I'm like the general secretary, and the other like president, treasurer, and whatever. And we are thinking about like the different ways we can help people to like not just depend on government job, but like startup. We're trying to inspire them to come up with their own startup. So, and as it is, it's just a young society, so we're just starting out, and even we are just like figuring out stuff right now. But yeah, and currently, I'm not ashamed to say it, but I come from a privileged background, where by that I mean I don't have like, we have a family business, and I don't have to think about where my next meal is coming from, or how am I going to pay my electricity bill, because like I can just get involved with my family business and somehow things will get sorted. But I can't put myself, I can't like, every time I think about underprivileged families, and especially artists coming out of those families, I'm like, how are they coping right now? I'm thinking like, because if you see that guy, there's a new artist who just came out. Everyone calls him Tupac Hasi. So he is in construction. So and he just came out like a couple of months ago or something, and they did a news program on him and everything. So I'm thinking about artists like him. Like, of course, these are pandemic times, and construction isn't something that is like it's not an essential job. So he must be like having a hard time finding jobs and all. So when I think of artists like those people, it's heartbreaking, to be honest, because I don't see any way I can help him. I don't have any means to help him. But I think like we can all cope, because there are established artists like yourself and other artists in Galia who have been like who've been doing good in their career so far. So there is hope if like people can form some sort of an artist association or something to help one another, pick them up, and like do something, just to uplift them. So we did. I tied up with KSU JL Circle also to promote this one. Uh, agenda of theirs, which is Kintiri Laki Jong, which means uplift your own. And the main focus of that campaign is to make people uh, think about businesses, not just like government jobs, because like there are only so many government jobs out there, and like the ratio of people wanting a job and jobs availability is like 10 to 1 or something. So it's like a gladiator thing right there, where there's just one survivor. So like we are inspiring people to think outside the box. Don't just jump into like searching for government jobs. Like try to start a business that you can be proud of having a share in the business when it becomes very lucrative. So that
Very
is the only thing I've been like focusing on for the past
Yeah, very
years.
pertinent points you brought out, Bigri. And and when you talk about struggles of artists, I feel you, and I feel with the artist community and people from the artist community. And Tupac Hasi, yes, I've seen him twice. I think amazing natural talent there. We can't wait, perhaps, for you to think of collaborating with him one day and see
Yeah, sure.
what
It'll
can
come to
happen
that. It'll eventually come to that.
from that kind of collaboration. And yes, the first part of this conversation for our viewers, we will dwell more on challenges. And later on, as the theme of the panel discussion stands, youth challenges and responsibilities. Later, we'll look at responsibilities and solutions. But thank you, Bigri, for those thoughts. And yes, we will meet and see how we take this further. And of course, now I'll bring the voice from the Garo Hills, NASA, who uh, has a K-pop girl band started. I think they started in 2019. NASA, please share with us your challenges and how some of these artists in the Garo Hills have risen above those challenges. What's happening in Garo Hills when it comes to the pandemic and the young people?
In these unprecedented times, every industry has been affected differently. Some have tried and others floundered. The fear of not having any idea to create can cause anxiety and panic to an artist. And a very important aspect to remember is the inspiration that an artist derives from the world around us. I am a member of India's first all-girl K-pop group, Pi, and our first debut cover wasn't that good as our members and I have expected or believed it to be, and the pandemic has directly affected the post-production video. Mm, we have been inactive for a year now, and I wish we can get back in track as soon as possible and show people that we have potential as artists inspired by K-pop. As an artist from Garo Hills, I have struggled a lot because of the genre of music that I chose. It is not very widespread and known in Garo Hills and Meghalaya as a whole. I have traveled to different states seeking for exposure and platform for what I love to do and to express my skills in K-pop. Since the pandemic is going on, the K-pop contests were held online, and it also tempers my opportunity to express my talent and love for K-pop. As a performer, we don't have access to vocal coaches and dance studios in this place, and COVID just adds to the misery. Despite living in despite living in an underdeveloped district of Meghalaya, with no resources to promote or support talented artistic talent in any way, the artists from Garo Hills have found ways to switch to virtual world and promote to the world their work, their talent, and earn through it. not just earn money, but earn exposure. And because a lot of people have access to internet and they are watching you from around the world. In this place, we also have difficulties accessing the internet, but we are hardworking and we love art and music. So we have discovered ways to present our work and talent and get a hold of the internet market. Even though we don't have the resources, we have risen above the challenge, spread our wings, and work everything out and shine.
Thank you very much, Nasa. Those are very hopeful words from you and the artists and the young people from the Garo Hills. I know that you mentioned internet connections. I think that's just, cuts across the state because nobody was prepared for this kind of pandemic to happen. But I'm also aware that the government is reaching out and trying to find ways to build some skills around all disciplines, whether it is art, sports, and extra. So thank you for sharing those thoughts. And yes, we for our viewers who have questions, and they can chip in and they can send their questions to the Facebook page, and also call 14410 if you're seeking support, if you have questions, if you need help of any kind. Please call the toll-free number 14410. That number is on your screen. And we also encourage you to download the Behavior Change app by the National Health Mission Meghalaya. You will get all the information around COVID-19 in Meghalaya. This has been very useful to me personally and to all the panelists who are here. And also make sure, if you've done your first dose, get your second dose to complete the vaccination. If you have been vaccinated once or twice, show solidarity by making this frame your profile frame on social media. The frame is called NH Champion. Follow the instructions on the screen, or as in when you go to NH Champion on your Facebook page, it is self-explanatory and it will take you there. Okay. So once again, we'd like to thank all our viewers and all our panelists. It is time now that we slip into a quick break. We'll see you on the other side.
Nah, kamay mtasi.
Kam biang phi.
Belayu. Piso diaw ba.
Kadao ko lang ba ngampat sim ketika ya dah COVID-19 ten. Kadao ki beliau ki semua atapian te ban ki ka taksi jonga.
Dia boleh pa pimle chemeta injegeta.
Kata ken kwa tamba masmuk lumar jemut banle ko online ter bas ko lang bangamdan te ko phone ko biang bandan ning internet.
Hintip sa. Baga sorka ka asdang banai tika kanda don kaman bukupa. Pisulay bed kadang tuang tu penyoy ka.
Syasa.
Ha. Sulay bed akan kuno ke caka injek akan kuno si baki ai. Singkat baka ID jong pi ba penyoy ketika dana from COVID-19. Himdan kam banne lupa akan kuno registration. Instan leh ya tu ke caka tika.
Kata ti kuar ba baik kan nga. Ai to kata sekendo mo.
Awak boleh kerja.
Na kerki ban simno ketika ya da mentak sini. Mapipan, what I doubt you, simi ketika ya da kanda pensap issue ekopor.
National Health Mission, Government of Meghalaya.
Hey Kongdeng, where to? Seems like somewhere special.
Yes, it's special. I am very proud to be a part of India's largest vaccination drive.
Are you not worried?
Why will I be? Instead, I should be worried if I'm not vaccinated.
But people are saying so many things.
People will always have something to say.
Will it really protect me from COVID?
Vaccination doesn't mean you are 100% COVID proof, but your immune system will be strong enough to fight even if you contract COVID-19 and it is not life-threatening.
I heard it has severe side effects.
There may be mild side effects like fever or chills, but that's normal. It will wear off on its own.
But is it really safe?
Of course, it is absolutely safe and backed up by medical professionals. Doctors, engineers, politicians, and many more are chosen from all sections of the society to be vaccinated.
Yes, you are right.
I will also get vaccinated immediately.
Don't waste your time anymore listening to fake news and gossip. Take a decision to get vaccinated with confidence.
National Health Mission, Government of Mega.
Welcome back, each one of you, to this panel discussion, Youth Challenges and Responsibilities During COVID-19. For those of you who've just joined us, we've had a very interesting conversation around how bad youth was impacted by the pandemic. But the intention was not to end there. The intention is to find ways on how youth can adapt themselves, working alongside governance systems. And when I said governance system, it doesn't mean only the government, but the other governance systems, community-based leadership and administration system at all levels. So yes, we have come to the second part of our discussion, and we'd like to continue with the responsibilities of young people. And I'm going to bring Marissa, who's the RJ at Radio Mirchi, to throw us some light, with regards to pandemic, how it has brought depressions, Marissa. Pandemic, how it has brought so much of confusions and anxieties to many. And yes, we cannot rule out there are mental health issues. You and I are not mental health experts or specialists. But as an RJ, as a person who stays connected to the youth, as a youth influencer, what do you think is our responsibility?
Hi, Bucket. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. So, you know what? As an RJ, of course, we do have a lot of responsibility because, like you said, we are not health experts in any way. We're not psychologists. We're not counseling psychologists. We're nothing like that. We are just there to keep people entertained. And when people listen to the radio, they don't come there for the news. They don't come to Radio Mirchi for the news. They can get the news anywhere at the click of a button. And they come there in order to be free of the news. But in saying that, I am not saying that as an RJ, or we don't give out information. We do. We give them facts. We give them the reality of the situation. But at the same time, we inject a little bit of positivity and a little bit of optimism into it. Knowing the fact that yes, COVID-19 is there, knowing the facts that yes, people are getting infected with the virus, people are unfortunately also dying from the virus, but yet in spite of all of that, there are still things that you can do in order to protect yourself. If you were to go out, know that you should wear a mask. If you were to go out, know that you should sanitize. If you were to go out, if washing your hands is not easily available to you, make sure you sanitize your hands. And the most important step, I mean, this is something that we have hoped for from last year. We hoped to get some kind of some kind of another layer of protection so that we'll be free from COVID, and the vaccine actually gave us that. So yeah, another point I would like to make is that get vaccinated. That's also one of the ways that we can actually protect ourselves, and not just protect ourselves, protect our loved ones, because I'm very sure there are people out there who have kids, under 5 years old, under 6 years old, and they can't protect themselves. So I think it's, if we are given the opportunity to not just protect ourselves but protect the others as well, why not take it? So that is something that
you brought a very pertinent point there. Why? Because as Bigri was talking about how the artist community has suffered so much. So, yes. Which means that, not only the artist community, but, you're talking about the student community, you're talking about, other professions.
Yes.
The more we get, more people get the vaccines. And yes. I think we will reach a stage where we will reach that 80%, 90% mark, where at least we can be, relatively safeguarded and protected. So, and I'm glad that you brought out the difference between fear and protection, because I remember 2020 was more of fear, but now we have the opportunity of protection, and the vaccine is there. Yeah.
Yes, I think bucket, fear of what? We didn't know what COVID-19 was. So it was basically a fear of the unknown. We had
Yes.
no idea what was going to happen. Of course, there were protocols and there were directives which were given to us in order to protect ourselves. So yes, fear is one, but how do we overcome fear? We overcome fear with all of these things that are given to us and we bring the two together. So
Yeah.
in that way, fear is not an overwhelming feeling anymore because you know what to do in order to protect yourselves.
Yes, I mean, I think therefore, if you look at the first part of our discussion, it was, challenge. So I
Yeah,
will look at as challenge equal to fear. And
yeah,
now we're talking about responsibilities, and responsibilities, equal protection. And
yes,
I'll come to a different, yet related to what we've talked so far, the adaptability and entrepreneurial creativity. We've
yeah.
seen how people have found ways to actually, repurpose their skills. Do you think that the youth today can take care of themselves? I mean, it
Def-
only takes a spark, of belief to do so. Or does it take more than that?
it takes a spark, of course, and it takes a lot of determination on their part also to want to do something. Because I can
Mhm.
understand, you thought you were just going to sit at home for a month or 2 months, and you thought, all right, in those 2 months I can just lay back, chill out, relax, not do anything. But then nothing seems to be happening. COVID-19 kept on going, and people needed an outlet. Especially creative people, they needed an outlet for that. So I noticed that there were a lot of people, despite the challenges that were given to them, yet they were able to come out of it. They were very resourceful that way. We saw a lot of
Mm.
store owners who couldn't open their shops, who couldn't open their stores. What did they do? They started selling online. We saw a lot of
Mhm.
bakers who maybe lost their jobs during the pandemic, and they couldn't, they had to get some kind of revenue for themselves. So what did they do? They started baking, turning a hobby into a profession. And that's what I noticed that a lot of people had. I mean, I don't know if you notice this bucket, and I don't know if the others notice, but when you look at social media, you will notice a lot of food outlets now. If you
Mm.
are on social media, you'll notice a lot of food outlets, which we never had earlier. Why?
Mm.
Because all the restaurants and all the cafes were allowed to open, and now suddenly they were shut. People had these people who had the restaurants, they needed some kind of revenue, right? So all those outlets now, I mean, all those small business owners now started expanding through social media. And so yes, that is also another resourceful way. And when we come back to education, me being a teacher, I mean, I'm speaking for myself personally. Me being a
Mhm.
teacher, and Bertha and Ruben, of course, they are students here. I think that if the students did well in this particular exam, especially the ones that we just, the results were just declared, for me personally, I don't think I can take any credit for that. Because the students adapted. They were resilient that way. They adapted to the situation in their own way. Most of, like we said earlier, there were a lot of challenges posted at the beginning. Being thrust into an online class kind of situation was not easy for them, but yet they came out successful. So yes, you can actually see that they are able to adapt. They are able to, they have a sense of determination within them, a sense of willpower to actually just go ahead, strive, work
Mm.
for it, just don't give up. That's what, and that's the attitude that you actually look for in people. And it's a brilliant attitude. It's a great
Yeah.
attitude to have.
Yeah. Valid points there, Marissa. Thank you. And you talk
Thank
about
you.
food when you see social media. There are just food outlets everywhere. On a
Yeah.
lighter note, people need to be careful about weight gain. So, but anyways, back to serious discussion, and I'm going to bring Bikri again. Uh, and it's an action packed discussion, but you can see Ruben there with his guitar, and I believe Ruben has a song, and that's the best for last. People, an 18-year-old student, singer songwriter. This is the first time ever in the panel discussion of NHM that we bring you a singer, and he will sing for us live. And I'm not going to spell out so much, but yes, Bigri, the question for you is, you're one of the artists who had decided to rise above the challenges, like some of us. And you've produced amazing songs last year. You've been responsible in a way, since we're talking about youth responsibilities, and you found ways how to sort of navigate through all of this. How did you do that? And just share with us, those experience of writing those songs. We would really like to hear.
Well, for that, I would have to give credit to St. Anthony's College and the Sasakawa Foundation, and also to my friend JC on the beat, who produced and mixed and mastered and did everything with the song. But like, yeah, I wrote that song Kaklam somewhere like halfway through the year, and it just so happened that the project came out for Sasakawa from the Sasakawa Foundation somewhere around that time, and I thought I'd try. If I didn't like get the push from St. Anthony's College and the Sasakawa Foundation, I probably wouldn't have released that song. So yeah, we as an artist, you can't just sit there and see everything going on and not express it. And me coming from a lyrical like background, I get to express that in the best way we communicate, that is words. So the only thing I did was I wrote the song and I recorded it, and well, it was done. It was done. That's the only thing I did. But that was not the only song. Like I think these 2 years have been the most productive years of my career ever. I think if I just count like just within the last year, I think I've made like 4 or 5 albums of music that I can release somewhere in the future. But as an artist, it is impossible for you to just sit there and do nothing, right? Because we are like the mouthpiece of society, and it is our job to record the truth, whether we like it or not. And in that song, I talked about how it felt, being treated as a non-essential, because recordings weren't considered essential tasks, and plus like the studios were scared of COVID-19, But even then, like my girlfriend, if I can be so straightforward, she was an essential worker, and although she was, I was like in contact with her like throughout the pandemic last year. And when she tested positive, I was like scared. I was scared because we all knew it was a very highly contagious virus, and I could have gotten it. So, but still, like after I tested and got my negative results and everything, the fear was gone. I understood that no matter how much like no matter how strong this virus is, if you take the necessary precautions, you can always beat it. So, and what were the precautions that I took? I just wore a mask, didn't touch my face unnecessarily, I maintained proper hand sanitizing hygiene and everything. I never got the virus. So like that is proof that you can protect yourself against the virus by simply like following protocols.
Yes.
Right.
Bigly, thank you very much. I think you're a very pragmatic, artist, at the same time naturally poetic. And then you talk about your girlfriend, and you talk about your you've got materials for the next 4 albums.
I think it's more than that. More than 4 albums. I think I can feed my grandchildren with those albums.
So now that you're talking about your 5, 6, 7 albums, God knows, I think your fan base and your fans will be expecting more from you. Okay.
I can't say I do it for the fun, because I'm from a society where people don't buy music, so to speak. I'll be brutally honest with you. Our society loves free stuff. If they get music free on Spotify, they'll listen to it. If they get music free on YouTube, they'll listen to it. Otherwise, don't expect them to buy it.
No,
We're not. We will be reaching that stage later on, eventually. But right now, we are at that point, and it's been like that since like.
Let's talk about this in Khasi. Kidon ki breu bine pikran ka inject pikran ketika pikran ka test te kidon menta ki batiang mani test nomor ki orang natang surung ki hospital ha layo covid tenrei hakachin perkat jong kini ki doktor bat ki start science ki ong bakab ha mani test te tho yang sajisi ni katuk bo phetho mana tin pareng bat hado kanno kalong ka ba don kam ki breu ba kin let ban test lada ki don kini ki dak jong uni uknyang jimpang covid.
Pedmo ngan chuong tak tin kasi ba lada fidon hi gidak kishen ban ba fidon covid kabha ba filit test nama lada test positive ru finyo treat no wood.
Kade.
Ngi dan arngut ki basa marjan ni ki bala khlat no covid. But lada day ba ki kam test kloy mun bro shi yeng ula sang. And kita ki breu ki badan iwei di badan pre-existing conditions, but iwei di bakwan pasal bakwan breu. Di tambangan ye thu fi ba ket ka bha ban convince ki breu. Ka bha da ni hayeng ru ban chu ong ken ye fi long chi thu ye ki viewers ye. Da ni hayeng ru tamanga ba upara ki bala long fully vaccinated. The rest kim tre. And la persyang man convince hispa ba convince kim tre. Ki nget bet ya kataka jing ong ka news na Facebook or whatever wherever they got that news from ba itu ki bala etika hadin sistem kita yaw and ka ha ban root out ikitu ki fake news lada day bam lada day bakim penshai like siap ban kumba fi tenru ban yo kam kum tai fi na ban tenru ban root out ikini ki fake news. Siap ban long very persistent ban peni gitu ki ad tik poster kat sabadan nang ba kan rung ha japi yang ki breu ba okay, it is actually good ladangi le vaccinate ladangi le test ladangi dan early signs nang ba nganum ha mi ki we namar hanga ya dia simet dai bucket kan chu ong kan ki viewers iru ba lada jai yang I don't mind ngadang marway ngam dan ko ngam dan si ngam kuslai dia. And mudder lada because of my fault in klat manu ha family jonga ne anyone basa marjan kinong yo covid itu. Mudder katno ka jing kata ya ka min sim ya ka met ibreo ya ka jing perkat I will have to live with that ngan hapan kata bro si jing kata ka jing sokya baka ngan hap kit atar pengel jong ya kata ka jing di tai breu bangala sim mar it's almost next to murder la tip nja ayu la da sim 3 still sidang continue sidang le
kade te kuleshi boni tiki kitin no pin ba ngaru nga perkhat haka bedai bat kane ka jing perkhat jing ba bon haka rukom ka ba pher namar gidan ki ba khamsnga bi khubor hamsaya ban ya ki khubor ki ba ni ki start science ki ba kila le research te ki hajar tli bat ki hajar mot ki doktor tenrei kalonga ba susi tenrei haka jo ko por ngathrai ni ha banong bi aisha nin bo jing duai bat nin long bi aisha khnang ba kini ki ba perkhat ta kumweru kin perkhat yang sejisian kan kin dan kam yang sejisian ya kata ka jabing ba ai blay ki ba kanwan sya kata ka chu ka jing perkhat kum bay long lang khnang ba kanwan ra ya ka jing da namar ka jing da manta long kum perkhat ka je menriun perkhat ka snong pi perkhat ka jela lada piadat mo la ba bu e kata ha ka kom jong met jong bre lada piadat tang ya ka kli tenre ya kani ka we ka benta lada don kono ko jing men saw ha ka kho si kemut ka jing men saw kho si kala ban kata pada ya baro ko we ka met kala ban ra ru jing men saw tiga e ka pi ong kalong ka banga so ya ha do ko kata Saya dengan keren yang deketin paring. So the topic that we are talking today is youth challenges and responsibilities during COVID-19. And I'm going to come to Ruben and Nasa since they are students. And the situation is far from normal as of now, Ruben and Nasa. We know that. And we still are a worried society. So talking about responsibility, you're both artists, So what do you think artists can do to ease the mind a little bit at this point in time? Maybe I'll start with you, Nasa, and then I'll come to Ruben.
The situation is definitely not a normal one right now. I have seen people lose their loved ones, and I fear being in their shoes. My family suffered from the disease, and it was a very heartbreaking experience because you are devoid from all human touch. I believe that art is a very important catalyst of optimism, and as an artist, it has helped me navigate through these unprecedented times. I, as a performer, have distracted myself from the situation by learning new songs from my favorite artists and writing down my own thoughts, which I would later turn into lyrics, and of course, dancing to my favorite songs. Artists have always comforted people and the world during times of ordeal. It is a very great responsibility to bear, to be able to be a source of comfort for people, even through a piece of work as a piece of poem or an emotional song. Many of us I know have, I am sure, have turned to artists during this pandemic. And it is a very important aspect as artists to be able to comfort and touch souls, thousands of souls in need.
Well put, Nasa. Thank you very much for your thoughts. Ruben, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes. As I mentioned earlier, times are difficult now, and understandably, many artists find it difficult to get inspiration to write their songs, and understandably because there's not much inspiration you can get by staying at home. But I believe the strongest and the most useful inspiration you can have is your own imagination. You can use that to write songs, many songs, and to maybe, for example, you can imagine what the world would be like after this whole pandemic is over. And you can just do wonders with your own imagination. And I believe many artists have it really depends on how they take it. Either they take it in a positive way or in a negative way.
Yes, Ruben, thank you very much. We can't wait for you to share, your song with us. And dear viewers, just wait for that to happen. It'll take another question or two that we reach there. But yes, you have different artists. Bigri, you said that you've written much more songs than ever before because of the pandemic. But you also have other artists who are, driven by other kinds of emotions. So yes, it's a pluralistic world of artists and creative community. I'm going to bring Bertha in now, and we'll talk a bit about social media and fake news and all of that. So, Bertha, you're a social media champion. What is your mission during these COVID times?
Well, Bakit, talking about social media, I feel like the most important part is first is to know about the facts and not to believe in anything you see. And like how the other artists in the show have talked about how important it is to cope up with this new virtual world now that we're living in. And most of us now are mostly on our screens living in today's world. And I feel like most artists can take that as an advantage by trying to cope up and trying to post as much as they can on their social media pages, because that too can really help them. Because Instagram now has also given a lot of opportunities to artists, whether it's singers or painters or any sort of other artists. Yes. And
Yes,
I'd also,
yes, go ahead, Bertha.
yeah. And also with the situation now, I feel like turning to facts is really important, and turning to the experts who know a lot more about this field than us, because it's still an alien situation now to think of it, because there's a lot of rumors being spread at the same time. So it's difficult to listen
Yes.
to all the aspects.
I'll interject you there, Bertha, because I'll come to the second part of the question. You are 18 years old, so you just became an adult in that way. So it would be very interesting to hear from you. In a world where people of different ages, it's so easy for them to just see one thing on their mobile phone screen and then take that as gospel truth. But you are 18-year-old and you're a thinking 18-year-old. So how do you discern news in a world where social gray is black or white? It's a very difficult thing. But then I think if you do it every other day, it gets to you. But I just want to hear your thoughts on this.
All right, Bakit. What I'd like to say first is, in the social media platform, what we should keep in mind is that information spreads very fast. So we should be responsible with what we share over there, because false news, or even an old news that's been posted a week back with today's changing world, might cause a lot of confusion among us and a lot of panic among people. And with most people mostly looking at their screens now, it wouldn't be a good picture towards all of us. So the first thing is we should be very responsible to what we share over there. And now with the vaccine being eligible for most youngsters turning 18 by the 31st of December 2020, 2021, so sorry, we should come up and get our vaccines done to help stop the spread and be responsible with what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your thoughts, and yes, dear viewers and panelists, it has been a very insightful conversation. We've talked about the people, we've talked about the challenges, we've talked about the responsibilities, and how youth can come together to address the social problems brought by the pandemic. Okay, so in this war, if we want to take it as a war against COVID, let's not forget those weapons we have to fight and win this battle. Our panelists have reminded us time and again what are those weapons: social, physical distancing, washing of hands, wearing of masks, and vaccination. We've almost come to the end of this panel discussion. There will be some last words from the panelists and a song by Ruben, and I hope that the other artists who are here in this panel discussion will be able to join in as well. This is very, very impromptu, by the way. But before I end, and before we hear the song, I'm going to give you 1 minute each, starting with Bertha, and then NASA will come in, after which Ruben and Bigri will come in, ending with Marissa. And starting with you, Bertha, what are your last words?
Well, my message would be, at such a time, we should use our time preciously, even when it comes to our hobbies, to spend enough time over there as well, to not be so stressed with the current situation, because we're all suffering in a way, and to use the platform for the greater good instead of creating rumors that may cause a lot of discomfort among and chaos among us. So my message today would be for us to be more helpful, but even when it comes to shopping locally and helping them in some sort of way. Yes, and to come forward to get your vaccines, because that would help all of us a step forward with living a normal life that we did before the pandemic happened.
Thank you, Bertha. Nasa?
I would like to encourage all of you to get your vaccinations, because I have seen the benefit of vaccination. My family has been vaccinated, and as I have told you earlier, my family suffered from the disease, but they were not affected severely. So, and I would also like to thank the frontline workers for their bravery, for risking their lives to save ours. Ponchote anga karuchi agalatas kia, na simang gumuko anga vaccination ko, vaccine ko ra china mutmolna tas kinga, maina nga thang kaha vaccine ni namguni ko, angni noko angni nokni manderang ba COVID sabisi ko matnang ha, diba wamang vaccine ko ra emang pang is sakna ni rangko matnang jaha. Uni man na simang selatan vaccine ko ra pachina, aro na simang apachi okaton protocols kemuko jake okat pachina mo mga taska. Thank you.
Ruben, if you can come in.
Yeah. I would strongly suggest anyone with the required age to take the vaccines and to cast all rumors aside, because it's scientifically proven that it's helpful and it's the best solution for now. So, yeah, I strongly suggest everyone to take the vaccine.
Bari samapi, kaya papidan ban ong ya ki nikinong pet ya gani program jangi.
Kung manchu paraphrase ki panelist mo belong very prestigious pada ni kung baong kong bertha wat nget ki fake news kung baong kong nesa learn ban empathize untuk lem di video tentang COVID kung baong I kong merisa subha wat tiang than wat supply than kung baong I ba ruban take this time to learn discipline and you'll get through this eventually. And take your shot and just get the vaccination done with. It'll be much easier.
Kublejibon, Bari. Marissa, I know that RJs are always talkative, but I'm going to throw a challenge to you. Make it a quick 40 seconds or 45 seconds. We are running out of time.
All right. So the only thing I would like to say is this: the new normal. I am tired of the new normal. I want the old normal back, where we could go out and, just spend time with our friends and just be normal like how we were. And I think one of the ways to achieve that kind of normalcy is, of course, getting vaccinated and hoping to just, help our bodies fight this particular virus, because as of now, we still don't know how it works, but yet the vaccine is going to help us. The guys out there, if you're listening, if you're looking at us, all 5 of us, all 6 of us here have said that get the vaccine. And when we say that, we're not joking. Okay, so get the vaccine. I think that's the only thing I have to say. If you're going to restrict me to 45 seconds, get the vaccine. That's it.
That's a very gentle and tough, request and advice in one given moment. But thank you very much.
Yeah.
I was told that there will not be just one song, but there will be 2 songs, because we're going to play the song that Big Reed did, last year, along with the St. Anthony's College and the Japan-based Sawaka Foundation, right, Big Reed?
Sasakawa, yes.
Sasakawa. Okay. Arigato. That's how the Japanese say thank you. Okay. So I'm going to play.
Huge anime fan.
No, I don't need one word. So, but anyways, I think I'm going to play for you that song by Big Reed. It'll be one verse and one chorus. Also, let's groove to the beat. Hello, I mean, I'm not a hip hop guy, but I love Big Ree's song. You know, I've listened to so many of your songs, and we've done this thing together, Ree. So we, you know. So yes, let's hear the song. It's called what is it called, Ree?
Clum.
Clum.
We called
That's
it Clum.
Clum. Okay.
Felt trapped, felt lost in the system. Felt bad, like losing to weaker competition. Felt scared when I think about all my loved ones. Got mad when I burned through all my savings. That was in the past tense now. I've made my peace with it all. I'll wear my mask when I go out. Can let the world take the fall. Spending so much time within these four walls. Expanded my limitless mind to reach my prime calling. I'm a creator with a vision greater than a legislator. I'm an educator, fact from fiction separator, ignorance terminator, truth promoter like an unbiased news reporter, tight like the Russo Chinese border, flow straight from the heart like a cardiac loop recorder to the beat. Few does it better in the lead. I see I'd rather have a seat than go after what I need. The one no need. I don't feed greed and they label me non-essential. That means I couldn't leave in the vehicle without a pass, cause recordings weren't considered essential tasks, and the studio scared of the thing we could catch. Now I'm running out of cash, my savings draining out fast. Don't know how long I would last, I'm barely surviving. But if you ask me how I am doing, I would say I'm doing okay. You're all good too, yeah? In that case, I know your blame. Felt trapped, felt lost in the system. Felt bad, like losing to weaker competition. Felt scared when I think about all my love.
Well,
Thank
we
you
had of you,
for
man.
playing
That
that
was
song.
really,
That
and
was amazing, by the way.
yeah, I'd
Thank
like to
you.
add was that, you know, with all the oxygen concentrator, let's meet this COVID terminator, you know, all of this.
Don't even try, Bucket. You're embarrassing me.
I like the part when you said, I like the part
Don't-
when you said you made peace with the situation. I'm like, okay, that's one way to look
Yeah.
at it. You know?
yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day,
It's
you
only
can't
a
do
challenge.
anything, right? You just have to
Yeah,
take it.
accept
Degree,
it and then move on from it.
Yeah.
once you play the music, I know the RJs will always come. They don't, they forget the host or play. I know. And Leo throwing a challenge for me. I'll take the challenge. You shall meet me. Anyways, thank you very much, Big B. That was an amazing job. And I'd like to thank all the panelists, Marissa, Skim, Big
Thank
B,
you.
Ruben Hadem,
Thank you for having us.
now,
Thank you for having
and
me.
last but not the least, very, very strong point from the Garo Hills, Nasa Marak. Okay? And I'd like to thank all the viewers as well. And to all the viewers, you know, if you have questions or if you're seeking support, help of any kind that you need, please call the toll-free number 14410. I'm going to repeat, toll-free number 14410. And also, we'd like to encourage you to download the Behavior Change app. You will get all the information around COVID-19 in Meghalaya. Okay? If you've been vaccinated once or twice, please show solidarity by making this frame your profile frame on social media. It's called NHM Champion. Self-explanatory. You go to the Facebook page, and you could also follow the instructions on the screen. Okay. Now it's time for us to listen to that song from Ruben. And I know that Marissa also sing. I'm not really sure if Big Ree will join us, because this is not a hip hop song, but it is a song, one of those classics. Okay, but I don't know if K-pop fits in here. But you know, if you want to try, please join in. But I know that Marissa and me will sing along with Ruben. So Ruben, take this away. Bridge over troubled waters.
When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all.
I'm on your side. Oh, when time you're up and friends just
Can be found
like
like a bridge over troubled
I will
I
lay
will lay me down
like a bridge over
troubled
water. I
I
will lay
will lay me
down.
Thank you very much, Ruben. I know there was a bit of a latency problem there, but that's the only drawback of virtual communication. Bigri, Marisa, and Nasa, and Ruben, we wish that technology will improve so that we can do a live gig, and I think that'll be great. There'll be no latency
that'll be
problem.
something.
We can sing like the best in the world, So, yes, guys, I'm so grateful to each one of you for your time, and especially grateful to our audience and viewers who are supporting, the artists, and also supporting the cause. And yes, this panel discussion is brought to you by the National Health Mission, Government of Meghalaya. Until we meet again, goodbye and good night.
Ni ban ngam so shat na do nen kasi ngamut trai ba ngam sa shat tang ba ngam so peri ai
Chayo.
na so telot na so so kriat na trai ngadan kam le check up
Kapan toy mình check up. Kapan toy. Saja mi. Kani kadai kejeng kelak sun beneng.
ni ban jerho da kisi bat ka kriat ngadan kam le check up pe ya to ka phone udan u helpline number ba ong pi kong asam ni
Onam le bakla kam le mangamo. Ada mapi dia manu nak yeng yo pi. Kidon ka jing sitom. Kum kejar ho kesit penhiar smuthaj duna ka jing ring men sem duna ki bor jing mat ki bor jing sma ki sendan kedai man sat slung ilade. Pat kedai malik test no ilade no COVID-19. Deng artli ki mas hayeng ru atong ikba hayeng ken le kamju.
ngadan bok bangalayo jingkat nai shem kabu tas ladi bat wa jingirap kirke lada dan kam haba pidan kum kanu ke jingpang ken mau ke jing semari ladi kadai kadawai.
Issued in public interest by National Health Mission, Government of Meghalaya.
No, kamay mtasi.
Kam biang pi.
Beliau. Pisau diau ba.
Kadao ko lang ba ngampat sim ketika ya dah COVID-19 teh. Kadao ki beliau ki semua atapian teh ban kia ta taksi jonga.
Dia boleh pa pemilih cemeta encek kita.
Kata ken kwa tamba masmu plumar jemut benle ko online ter bas kuwi kolong bangamdan teh ko phone ko biang badan ni internet.
Hentip saya. Bagi sorka kalau sedang mana etika kan dan kamban bukupa. Bisulai bed pedang tuang tu penyoy ka.
Syasa.
Ha. Sulai bed akan kuno ke caka encek akan kuno ke sini bagi ai. Tingkat bak ID jong pi penyoy etika dana kam COVID-19. Hentan kamban ne lupa akan kuno ke registration. Instan le hiya tu ke caka etika.
Kata ti khubor babae kanya nga. Ay to kata sekendo mo.
Awak boleh fikir kia.
Nakirki ban simno etika ya da mentak sini. Mapipan what I doubt you simi ketika ya da krem depan sab issue ekopor.
National Health Mission, Government of Meghalaya. During this period of uncertainty, we would like to say thank you to all our frontline workers who leave their homes every day so that we can stay safe